another edition of the Weekend Review with E.J. Borkart.
Thank you. Please hold your applause until the end. Most likely because maybe you'll have a reason to applaud by then. So, I am E.J. Borkart. This is the Weekend Review. We are going to be talking about what happened in the rebellion on Aquar this week. Then, we will discuss what has happened so far in the Super Morpher. And then I'll tell you a bit about what will happen next week. Also in the Super Morpher. And then we'll see if my eyebrows can make me fly away. Doesn't seem to be getting any lift. So we'll go back to the rebellion on Aquar. This week in Rebellion on Aquar, it starts out with Private Jonathan going undercover into Daily Devices Incorporated. He is able to get a job with the security force there, and he discovers that the security guard that he's going to be learning from thinks that the Super Morpher chose the best possible mining site to attack that he possibly could, because they were shutting that mine down because there was out of resources. All the machines that he damaged were covered by insurance, so they're going to end up making money out of the deal. Plus, they won't have to move the equipment from that site to another one, and they'll get to start with fresh equipment instead. Now, Jonathan is no detective, but he thinks this is suspicious, as does his commander when he reports it. There's not enough there to say for sure that he's working with the rebellion, but there's enough there to be suspicious. And after that, we find Taryn going to work for Frederick when he comes across the people that he promised to buy more time for to pay off their loan. They are very upset with Taryn because they think that he lied to them and sent thugs out there to go and steal their combine from them. He tries to convince them otherwise, and unfortunately, he's not able to do so. But he does. He goes to talk to Frederick, convinces Frederick to return their combine to them. More accurately, he'll allow them to rent the combine from him as long as Taryn goes out and collects the debt for 3 other loans that are due. Taryn grudgingly agrees to do it. He collects them. 2 out of the 3 people had the money, so he only had to take something of value from the last person. And he feels pretty rotten about what he's done. Gets the agreement from Frederick. The people are now able to go and rent the combine from him for 20 quill a day. Which, they can get that harvest done in like 3-4 days. As long as Frederick hasn't done anything to sabotage the machinery and make it so it breaks down so I can't get it anywhere near as fast as they thought and end up making money on the deal. Oh my, that would be silly. And after that, Taryn goes and talks with his pastor, who assures him that God can use what the masked man is doing on this planet to bring good for his people. And Taryn takes comfort from this, thinks, maybe I can continue to go on. And he goes to the rebellion meeting, and they discuss the location of their next target, which will be a mining site near a town called Aquar's Crater. And when they're going to do this strike, one person is very, very upset that they're working with the masked man, blames him for his son's arrest, and very much so is against it. They say, we're sorry about your son. Maybe we can do a rescue for him, but we have to keep working with the masked man. We can't stop now. So, this guy decides it'd be a good idea to go and turn the masked man in. Hey, guess what? The masked man's going to be here at this time. You guys should go and arrest him, and perhaps let the people he's with go because they're not really who you want. Well, that works out great because the man gets arrested, for being part of the rebellion. And now the enforcers know where the rebellion's going to be, when they're going to be there, and they're going to get the masked man to boot. So things ended pretty abysmally. Yeah, that's a sticky situation they found themselves in. I don't know how the rebellion's going to get themselves out of that. Well, to be honest, I do. I'm sort of the one that writes the story, and I already have the outline for the next chapter, and it's going to be good. You'll like it. It's good. It's good. Now, I think it's time to discuss the history of the Super Morpher up to this point, the story.
Previously on the Super Morpher.
And the story starts out with a football player named Ryan in college. He helps his partner or his best friend out with the lab experiment, ends up getting the ability to transform into any substance that he touches. He's stronger, he's faster, and he heals a heck of a lot faster. Not quite Wolverine level, but getting close to there. And after that, his friend talks him into, or Jordan, his friend, talks him into quitting the football team and becoming a superhero, which he does. And he fights robots and thieves and robbers and fights fires, and the police really don't like him because he's taking the law into his own hands, and so he's running from them, and he gets a new girlfriend named Becky. That's not the girl that he actually wants to date. He wants to date Kari, but Kari won't date him until he becomes a Christian, and Becky is really clingy, and so Ryan decides to break up with her and gets an opportunity to go and join a professional football team if he does well. So he goes back to the football team. He gives up being the Super Morpher because he gets his butt kicked really badly by a gang and then by a robot, and he doesn't know if he wants to do this anymore, but there's a bad guy who's in charge of all the crime in the city. He's called the Spider, and he decides, you know what, I want the Super Morpher to work for me. He can't do that if he quits, so I'm going to threaten to destroy the city unless the Super Morpher comes back to meet with me. He goes to meet with him. The Spider's like, work for me. He's like, no. The Spider's like, I'll give you more time to think about it. Meanwhile, Spider's hired a supervillain assassin known as the Wraith, Lori Boley, whose abilities are that she can completely cloak herself from someone else's senses. So you can't see, touch, hear, taste, or smell her if she doesn't want you to. She's supposed to follow Ryan and find out who he is under the mask. Well, who the Super Morpher is under the mask, which is Ryan. And she fails because, quite frankly, the Super Morpher's favorite mode of transportation is leaping from building to building across the city. And she can't quite keep up with that on foot. Anyway, she finds out that Jordan is the name of the scientist that has created a formula to synthesize indestructible fabric, which Ryan's suit just so happens to be made out of, and that he might know who the Super Morpher is. Well, she's going to go and get to him first so that she can sell him to the Spider to still get paid because she couldn't find out Ryan's identity. Spider's upset about this. He agrees to her terms. Jordan is handed over, and Ryan is given the ultimatum, hey, either you come and talk with me within 2 hours, or we kill this guy and destroy the city. So Ryan decides, I can't work for this guy, but I have to save Jordan, so he goes and talks to the police. And he says, basically, the city is going to be destroyed because the guy wants me to come work for him and be a bad guy, but I refuse to do that, so I have to go save Jordan and stop these gangs from destroying the city. Well, the police say they'll work with him, that they'll move into the city and be prepared for the gang's attack. Ryan goes to talk with the Spider, and the Spider basically says exactly what you would think he would. I'm going to kill this guy and destroy the city if you don't work for me. Ryan grabs Jordan, jumps out the window from the top of an 80-story building, And that's where the last chapter cuts off. Bit of a cliffhanger. If you want to see how he gets himself out of this predicament, you'll just have to come back on Monday, which is tomorrow, and read that chapter. Oh boy, is it a good one. I enjoyed writing it. Also, some other things that'll be going on in the chapter. The police have bulletproof uniforms because they asked Jordan to make them some with using his new formula. Jordan has also invented a new alloy known as Jordanium. It's very lightweight. It is nearly, well, from what he can tell, it's indestructible. Once it's set in its shape and cooled, you're not going to dent it or bend it or do anything to get it out of the shape that you put it in. And Ryan finally gave in and told Kari that he will go to a Bible study with her if she will go on a date with him. And so I believe that it's everything you need to know that's happened in the story so far for what's going to happen next week. Obviously, all 11 chapters leading up to next week's chapter are already up on my blog on the archives page, and you can go and check them out if you would like. And now I'm going to give you a bit of a sneak peek for what will be happening next week on my blog. Well, obviously Ryan and Jordan survived the fall. Can't have much of a story if both of the main characters died. And the gangs are going to attack the city. And you will discover Ryan's greatest weakness. And that's about all I really have for you for this week. I hope you enjoyed the weekend review. If you have any questions for me, you can leave them in the comments section down below, and I will answer them for you. And I want you all to remember that it may be love that makes the world go round, but it's stories that makes the journey worthwhile. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Have a great day.
The Weekend Review has been paid for and brought to you by Godard Labs.